It should be no shocker that more celebrities, personalities, and those in the public eye are beginning to come forward and defend and do damage control for Snow White 2025 by the Walt Disney Company for various reasons out there. We know that Bill Burr said some of the most absurd things that we have never heard of before from him. That really just goes to show you exactly how far some of these, personalities are willing to go to really defend this movie at all costs, to really go and attack the critics no matter what it takes. Now, focusing on Meghan Markle and Rachel Zegler, surprisingly. There's a lot of things going on between these two, and something that you would not even expect. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing is for certain is that we know that two of the most incompetent studios within the film industry right now are Netflix and the Walt Disney Company for multiple reasons. On Netflix part, we know that they have Meghan Markle, and when it comes to the Walt Disney Company, they have Rachel Zegler. Ironically, they are both Rachels. Alright, and it's really quite also strange how we now have Meghan Markle doing damage control for not just Snow White, but also for Rachel Zegler's career. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, one thing is for certain is that we know that Disney CEO Bob Iger, and of course, Netflix CEO Greg Peters, they are both trying to improve their image as CEOs, and they are trying to improve the image of both companies, and it really just goes to show you exactly what's going on with the current status of Hollywood and how there are a lot of, people out there that are just tired of some of the nonsense that some of these studios have been pushing out there. Now, yes, Greg Peters is far more of a competent CEO than Bob Iger ever will be. He is actually trying to fight or battle against the board of directors nonsense. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with Meghan Markle. Now, with the Walt Disney Company still dealing with the negative press over the Snow White box office and reviews, one significant development going on now involves more to do with both Rachel Zegler and Meghan Markle, and a shocking update that is now going on both behind the scenes and in the public eye. Now, a shocking update to this entire scenario now involves how Meghan Markle recently got in touch with Rachel Zegler's agent and manager, and even Zegler herself, where Meghan is in the works of bringing Rachel Zegler onto her new podcast that is about to be announced in the coming days that will focus on the life struggles of actresses in the film industry. Markle is reportedly going out of her way to help support and console Rachel Zegler after dealing with the widespread Snow White backlash and the criticism toward her after her awful comments went viral. To make matters worse for this entire situation, already, Netflix and the Walt Disney Company have held conversations with each other to bring on Rachel Zegler as a guest/cameo for With Love, Meghan Season 2, once they begin doing additional filming by this June for the second season. Now, Markle reportedly took the criticism towards Snow White and Rachel Zegler very personally, and holds personal issues with the Rachel Zegler backlash to the point that she wanted to use her platform to prop up Zegler on the show. Plans have been discussed with Zegler and her team to have her cook with Meghan Markle and to discuss the Snow White haters and the criticism, quote-unquote, and to also provide an outlet for Zegler after she lost multiple roles in the film industry. Now, guys, let me just stop here for one moment. I think the reason why Meghan Markle is taking the criticism of both Rachel Zegler and Snow White very personally is that, well, Meghan Markle is also dealing with a near similar situation where she's also losing a lot of roles in the film industry. Any cameos that she was supposed to land in movies and or television programs are going down the drain as well. So you can see the connection there. Now, Zegler already reportedly agreed to appear on Markle's show. However, arrangements are still in discussion currently for how this will be done in the grand scheme of things. Zegler and her team are reportedly desperate to improve her image, no matter what it takes after the box office disaster of Snow White, and so many roles with different studios, and just how her career is of course, in the mud, currently as we speak. Now, Netflix already is discussing plans with the Walt Disney Company to allow Zegler to dress up as Snow White while cooking with Meghan Markle, and, of course, for approval of those plans, and how they are currently still in the works between both Netflix and Disney. Zegler is said to be overexcited to appear on Meghan Markle's show, to use her platform as a voice, so to speak, to call out the critics and haters, quote-unquote, as she calls them, to share her side of the story, and to set the record straight about the Snow White criticism. Both Zegler and Markle reportedly agree with each other about the issues of sexism and misogyny and how that will be brought up in the episode that Zegler is aimed to appear on. Now guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about this. This is exactly why Meghan Markle's With Love Meghan series is going to bomb yet again with season 2. Now look, this is set to debut by this fall, and I can see how this is a strategy between both the Walt Disney Company and Netflix, right? And more specifically catered to Disney, because this is when Snow White will be long gone and forgotten by this fall. It's really just, ways out at this point. But the fact that they want to use Meghan Markle's show as a way to prop up Rachel Zegler and as a way to kind of bring her career back up, this has nothing to do necessarily with Disney trying to prop up her career, but more so Meghan Markle trying to bring up Rachel Zegler and how she got that approval by Netflix. Look, this is exactly why I say that Netflix is really incompetent as much as Disney, because they're allowing such nonsense to go on a show like that, to even go on Netflix in general. So it just goes to show you that with a mixture of some of these failed actresses and politicians now coming on board of With Love Meghan Season 2, it's going to be a complete mess of a situation for Netflix, and I would not be too shocked if this leads to more customers leaving Netflix in general. Now, to close, Disney's only concern with this plan/deal is that Rachel will criticize the Disney company directly, as she does hold internal issues with the Disney executives and producers that forced her to remain off video for a while the Snow White film is in theaters. Markle, however, is reportedly ecstatic to improve Zegler's image by doing damage control for her career. Now look, we already know that Rachel Zegler has a lot of problems with some of the Disney ABC producers of what actually happened and went down over at The View at ABC. You guys may or may not know, but we talked about this a couple of days ago. She was literally dragged off set because she was about to get way too political and spewing political talking points with Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and when Disney caught wind of that, they said no, definitely not, let's call this off, let's get her off the set. They didn't have her go on live television to promote Snow White. At a spur-of-the-moment thing, they didn't want her to go on there. But what's interesting about this is the fact that Disney is only allowing this to happen with Meghan Markle because it's going to be months and months after Snow White will be long gone and forgotten and out of theaters, and most likely on Disney Plus, also failing at the ratings. We know that that's going to be another thing. Once this thing does hit Disney Plus, you're going to see Snow White ratings also tanking on that platform, and it's going to also serve as another big shred of proof that this movie just did not resonate with the general public at all. So again, the fact that we have Meghan Markle going out of her way to do damage control, not just for Snow White, but also for Rachel Zegler as an actress, look, I think it has a lot to do with how Meghan Markle is dealing with a similar situation herself, and that's exactly why she's connecting with Rachel Zegler. Honestly, I'm not too shocked about this overall development. I think that we all saw this would eventually come at some point where Meghan and Rachel would have some kind of connection in the public eye, but overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.